Hello and welcome back to the advanced course on R programming. In today's tutorial, we will learn how to address or extract components of a list. Alright, so let's dive straight into it. There are three ways to extract components of a list. The first way is through just ordinary square brackets. This will always return a list. Second way is through double square brackets. This will always will return the actual object within the component. And the third way is the $sign. So this is the same as the double square brackets, but prettier. Yep, we're gonna say it's prettier. So here I just want to add always. Okay, so let's have a go. List RL1. So we just print our list and we see that we have three elements or three components in our list. Let's start by trying to address this first component. Let's try all three methods. So list underscore RL1 square brackets 1. Run that. As you can see, what we got is it is still a list. We've still gotten a list which has one component, machine, and it's that vector with one character, RL1. So now if we try the second method, list RL1 and then double brackets 1, what we'll get is now it's different. You can see that here we had this name of the component, here we don't, and that's because this is now a vector. It's no longer a list. And if we try the third method, list $sign machine, you run that, you can see that it's the same output as here. All right, let's try the second component, but this time we'll do a bit more investigation. So let's go list RL1 second component and we run that. So here we've got $sign stats, meaning that's the name of this component, and this is the component, this is the vector here. So what do we want to do? First thing I want to show you is if I make this bigger, right, like that. So now that this whole vector doesn't fit here. If I run this now, this should kind of explain what this one means, right? This one and then this 3 is just like if you had a vector. If you just output a vector and doesn't fit on your screen, that's where the 1 comes from, that's where the 3 comes from. It helps you understand, okay, this is the first element, this is the second element, okay, this is a new line, so there's a third element. Right, so don't get confused by this 1 over here. It's just there just because something didn't fit on the screen, as it would be when you print out a normal vector. So going back to our concept, here we've got $stats. That's the name of this component of this list. And how do I know that this is a list? Well, it's very simple. Let's just check it out. Type of, and let's copy this in here. So let's just prove that this is indeed a list. As you can see, it is a list. All right, let's check another one. List RL1 double square brackets, and now we'll put 2 in here. So now we've just got this vector by itself. What do you think we will get if we check type of here? Right, what do you think we'll get? That's right, we got double because this is a vector of doubles. So completely, it has nothing to do with the list anymore. You can take this value, assign it to letter Z and or letter A, and it will be a completely separate vector. We've extracted the element out of the list. Whereas here, in this case, it's still a list, just a smaller list. And now let's try out the final version, RL1, and here we're going to say $sign stats. So if we run that, here you can see that we've got once again the stats, and let's see what they will look like if we look at the type of. Once again, it's double. So indeed, these two approaches return the identical result. Just this one's a bit more convenient because we actually can specify the name of the component. And as you can imagine, if you have lots and lots of components, then this way you can easier, or it's a simpler way of addressing them rather than looking through a list and trying to remember where each component is sitting. All right, so I've got a question now. Can you solve this mini challenge? How would you access the third, wait for it, element of the vector? So the maximum utilization. How would you access that? So in our list, let's print out our list RL1. In our list, we've got 3 components: machine, stats, low threshold. How would you access this value, this third element of the component, which is the vector stats in our list? How would you do that? All right, so you can pause the video and give it a go yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to show you the answer right now. So the answer here is list RL1, and then you would say, okay, how do I get to this vector by itself? Not in a list, how do I get just to the vector? Well, this way, right? So either this way or this way. And then you'd say 2, and then you'd say 3, right? Because you want, so let's get rid of that for a second. That's the vector. And then on top of that, we want to get to the third value. So there we go. That's how you do it. And of course, the other approach is to replace this double brackets 2 with $stats. You get the same result. There you go. As you can imagine, with the single brackets, you can't really do that, because with single brackets, you'll still have a list, and in the end, you would still need to access the element. All right, so there we go. And we've got one more left to do. So we've done the first component, the second component. I'll leave it up to you to practice with the third component. So just go ahead and do this same approach, or this approach, where you access it this way, then you access it this way, and then you extract it this way as well. And just that'll give you some additional practice and really cement in what we learned today. And that's all for this tutorial. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, happy coding.